All right. Ooh, why can't I start? Anyway, it doesn't matter. All right, nerds. All right, nerds. Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles is dropping in just over a week as of recording this, and so you know we had to do something. Final Fantasy Tactics is my favorite Final Fantasy game. If not, it'll be Final Fantasy VI if I can only say mainline games. So what I want to do is rank all the jobs that are in Final Fantasy Tactics. The Ivalice Chronicles does not have the War of the Lions classes, so we won't be breaking those down, and we're not breaking down any of the special classes. It's just the main jobs of Final Fantasy Tactics. We're going to start at the bottom of the barrel, the D tier, work our way up to the God tier, our S tier. This is just my personal ranking, so if you disagree, good. Let's throw some hands in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. What's your favorite job? Before I dive in though, go ahead and let me know what you consider to be your S tier job. Drop it in the comments so we can see if we line up or if you're completely wrong. So like I said, we're starting at the bottom. This is my basement dweller. I only have one class for the D tier. That's going to be the Squire. Not Ramza's Squire, that's very different. Ramza's Squire is a step above many things. I'm talking the Squire that everybody else is stuck with. Squire is basically your starter Pokemon. It's got some basic abilities. It's got some mediocre stat growth. Congrats, you can throw a rock. You can yell some encouraging things, which actually isn't too bad. But then you're gonna get bodied by a random Chocobo. We don't have time for that. Thank you for being there. D tier for Squire. Then we have the C tier. These are just disappointments. Like, they have the inklings to be great, but they're just not. The next job I want to talk about is Mystic. Mystic, Oracle, whatever we want to call them. These guys are the definition of they sound good on paper. Status effects can be nasty, and they're supposed to be out there applying status effects to everyone, but the hit rates are atrocious. Truly garbage. There's nothing like missing 3 paralyzes in a row, and the reward is a face full of steel. C tier, and I stand by it. So we're gonna move Mystic right on up into C tier. Next up in C tier is gonna be our Archer. I don't care what anybody says, charge is a pain. Why would I sit there charging my bow up for 3 turns just for it to shoot and miss because the person is moved? Archers are truly the definition of a kid who wants to bring their Nerf gun to a sword fight. So let's move Archer right on up into C tier. I do want it above Mystic though, because at least they can do some damage. You put an Archer up high, it's gonna deal some devastating damage.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
Alright, the next one I know I'm gonna get some hate for. I know some of y'all love it, but it's Samurai. But their draw out skill, while flashy and can do some damage, it is expensive. Half the time it's just gonna feel like you're shattering your precious family heirlooms to do some damage. It's a cool idea, I just think the execution is clunky. Yes, I know the hardcore people can get out there, they're grinding and getting so many items and whatnot to give fuel to your samurai, but for me, that's a lot of extra work to make a class do what it's supposed to do. Quick talk from Stony Editing in the future. I think my main problem with Samurai is that I have a problem. It's a me problem. I don't like using limited items. I usually stock them up, so if I get like elixirs and things like that, I end up not using them. So the fact that I can run through this game as a samurai and destroy these items, and I hate spending and using things, that's the problem. That's probably more of a me thing. Let me know what you think. Next up in our C tier, it's gonna be Time Mage. I respect haste and slow, but the problem with Time Mage is they're a glass cannon without the cannon. They do support, but 9 times out of 10, you're just better off running a white mage for heals or a black mage for damage. The Time Mage is like a coworker that shows up with all these good ideas but never finishes the project. Props on their fashion sense though. So we're gonna move Time Mage up into C, and I do want him above the others. Now we're in B tier, we're climbing out of the dumpster. Let's see what we got. First up in B tier, we have a class that's cool, boring in execution. You'll use it, but only a few times. That's gonna be Orator. The talk skills are hilarious or useless. You do need it for recruiting monsters, and that'll be the time that you use it when you want to recruit a couple. You'll recruit a couple of monsters and use them for a little bit, and then you're going to get rid of them, because your main characters are honestly just that much better. Playing Order is really just like playing through Disco Elysium. It's like having conversations that are based on dice rolls. Again, it's going to get its uses, that's why we're putting it in B tier. Next up, we have our cute little buffer of the group. That's going to be our Bard. The buffs are nice, they're cool, but the actual utility of a bard, half the time they're just singing while the rest of your crew is doing the real work. However, if you throw in one of the classes we haven't gotten to yet, Mime, you can really see the power of a bard. But I'm not trying to base the classes based off utility with other jobs. You'll see some cool things though. So Bard is just gonna move right up in here, into B tier, but I will put him above Order. The next three that I have in here are very hard for me to sort. Don't consider these next three in any particular order, but we're gonna go ahead and start with White Mage. This one hurts. It hurts deep. White mages are iconic, I get it. Healing, curing, all the good stuff. But man, are they slow. They're slow. You're basically praying to the gods of Ivalice that your white mage gets a turn before your dragoon is turned into a pancake. They're not bad, they're just not it. So let's slide them on up in here. Next up is Chemist. I really do respect the Chemist. I don't want us thinking because I'm putting him in B tier, I don't respect the Chemist. But at the end of the day, throwing potions is like bringing Capri Suns to the war. Useful, sure, but not inspiring at all. But thanks for quenching my thirst. Last up in the B tier is Thief. Thief is gonna live here, and listen, I get it, stealing gear, it's hype. But when your whole job is just trying to mug the enemy in battle, you're basically just playing a JRPG klepto simulator. However, when it comes to leveling builds and grinding out JP, I love the skills that the Thief has. You can look up some things about Thief if you're trying to level up and gain a lot of job points. So let's slide our Thief right on up in here. Next up, we're going to A tier, and the jobs in here are really gonna make you think these are gonna be worth grinding out. I want these abilities, I want to do these things. So first up, we're going to start with Mime. I know earlier I had just said I'm not going to rate jobs based on how they work with others, but that's the whole foundation of the Mime job, so that doesn't count here. Mimes are honestly wild. Mimes, if you don't know, work by copying the moves of everybody else on your team. And when it works, man, there's honestly nothing more rewarding. The downside of a Mime is they're dumb. There's no gear, there's no control. It's like having a toddler with a rocket launcher on the field for you. But man, when it hits, no lie, it is one of the coolest things you get to experience in tactics. Something I want to point out that I had talked about with Bard earlier, think about it this way. If you have 5 Bards, that's going to be 5 buffs for your team. However, if you have 2 Bards and 3 Mimes, that's going to be 8 buffs. And so now you can just extrapolate that out and see how Mime works with other classes. So let's slide Mime up on in here in A. Next, we're going to have Dragoon. Dragoons jump up in the sky and come down with the force of a god. And honestly, it never gets old. It does large amounts of damage, and it's very satisfying seeing them land on an enemy. There's just so much cool factor to a Dragoon, and they have the damage to back it up. Dragoon is one of my favorite classes across all of Final Fantasy, so maybe I'm a little biased. I truly think they deserve more love, and even some tweaks in Final Fantasy Tactics. They do have some really, really great skills that you can use and pass on to your other jobs, though. Let's get Dragoon in here. I do want him above Mime. So next up, I'm going to be roping 2 together. I think they're both great. I think they're both phenomenal. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I just think they fulfill very similar needs. These 2 are bread and butter jobs for JRPGs and Final Fantasy. First is going to be Black Mage. First is going to be Black Mage, and honestly, they're just glass cannon perfection. You're going to get to blow stuff up before you get sneezed on. The other is Summoner. Summoners are walking nukes with beautiful animations. Honestly, the only reason they're not S tier is because they take so long to charge their abilities. And you'll learn once you start playing tactics, once people move out of your field or range of an ability, that's it, it's a whiff. So for that, we're gonna put Black Mage and Summoner in here together. They both have fantastic job abilities that they can pass on to other things though. All right, next up, we're gonna put in our dancer. Dancers deserve all the props, really. Their debuffs are strong and you can stack them up. They bring style and impact, which I truly respect. They really are a chef's kiss. Give a dancer fly or even teleport and imagine this baddie bouncing around, debuffing all of the enemies. It's truly magic. Also remember what I said about bards and mimes. You can apply that over here to dancer. Debuffs for everybody. Our next job is gonna be knight. They're basic but reliable. Breaking gear and stats can completely cripple the enemy and they do it very well. They are not flashy, but they get the job done. I do really want to stress the power of breaking stats, especially when you're dual wielding. Enemies honestly do not stand a chance. So let's slide up our knight into our A tier. Our next job is going to be Geomancer. Honestly, Geomancer is one of the best kits all around. The thing with the Geomancer is there's nothing like super stellar, but there's nothing even close to bad. So Geomancer being here might surprise you. They have terrain-based attacks, so wherever they're standing, they're gonna do different skills and abilities. They're honestly super tanky and can hold their own, and their skills don't require any MP. So let's go ahead and slide up our Geomancer right at the top of A tier. Now we're in our S tier, our gods among mortals. We can see that we have 3 classes left over, so we're gonna see which ones I think are first, second, and third. All right, so for third place, we're actually gonna put the calculator. I swear this is probably the most busted class in Final Fantasy Tactics. Math skills are going to turn your entire battlefield into a playground. Casting Holy across all of the enemies because you calculated the turn right, disgusting. If you don't think Calculator is S tier, you're lying to yourself. They take a lot of work, you need skills from all the different jobs, but once you get it, they put in that work. So let's slide Calculator on up into our S tier. All right, so we're at our top 2. You can see which ones they are. We have Monk, we have Ninja. And was this one of the ones that you predicted at the beginning to be in your S tier? I debated a lot between these two on who to put in first place. Here we go. Second place is gonna be Monk. Monk, if you know, you know. Monks are straight up broken and they're one of the earlier classes that you can get. No gear required, just pure hands. They're tanky, they heal, they nuke, they revive. They honestly do it all. Monks are the JRPG equivalent of bringing your fist to a gunfight and somehow winning. I think my playthrough of the Ivalice Chronicles, I will be making my Ramza some version of a monk because I imagine him being this holy warrior of the people, bouncing around the fields and just laying hands on the enemies. True hero of the people. Lied Monk right on up in here. And obviously, here we are. Number 1, our first place is going to be Ninja. And honestly, it comes down to 2 words. Dual wield. Ninjas are honestly so good they feel illegal. They're fast, they hit like trucks, and they look really cool while they do it. Ninjas are truly peak Final Fantasy Tactics. There's no argument on S tier forever and always. Their skills are needed by many other classes. Their skills are needed for many builds, and honestly, let's not forget their speed. So we're gonna slide Ninja right up in here into the top of S tier. So there you have it. That's my personal rankings for Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles of just the base job classes. I know this is the kind of list where no one agrees 100%, so go ahead, put in the comments and let me know what your top 3 S tier jobs are. Let me know which ones I completely disrespected to you. Let's fight it out in the comments, and remember, you matter, nerds, and I'll talk to you later.